Whakalofalahi atu, this is Pacific Waves from RNZ Pacific. I'm Susana Suisuki. Coming up, unemployment rates continue to climb in New Zealand, with Pasifika most impacted. Also,
I think it's timely in the sense that it clears the way for, one, the separation of powers.
an academic weighs in on how a High Court ruling embarrassed Fiji's Prime Minister. And
I only really saw it for a couple of seconds, and as soon as it went in, I didn't really know what to do.
a Niuean footballer scores a monumental goal. In New Zealand, the latest labour market stats show the unemployment rate has reached 5.4%, the highest in a decade. A total of 165,000 people are unemployed, a rise of 4,000 on the previous quarter and 10,000 from a year ago. Pacific unemployment has grown to 12.3%, the highest of any ethnic group and more than double what it was 2 years ago. I spoke to social policy analyst Ana Ika and began by asking for her reaction to the latest unemployment figures.
It's unfortunate, but it's not surprising. These numbers are not surprising. I guess for us at the Salvation Army, we're seeing the realities of what unemployment looks like. We've had an increase in regards to people accessing our services for food. And often when we're talking to a lot of our families, they've either lost employment or they're currently looking for employment. And so these numbers are unfortunate, but they're not surprising in the current economic state of our country that we're looking at.
The last time we spoke, the unemployment rate for Pacific people was sitting at 12.1. That figure is now at 12.3%. Why is it getting worse for our Pacific people? Are we not encouraging Pacific youth to upskill in other industries besides labour and agriculture? Or why is it getting worse?
I don't think it's necessarily a straightforward answer. Is that I think one of the other work that we do here at the Salvation Army is we try and prep and train young people to be job ready. I mean, one of the biggest challenges that we've noted in the past year is that there's just no jobs. There's, we prep our young people, equip them, driver's license, all of those things for them to be able to move into employment. But I guess one of the biggest challenges right now in the current economic status of our country is that there's a lot of people that are looking for employment, but there's just not enough jobs for those who are ready for employment. I think one of the biggest shocks in the past year that particularly impacted our Pacific was the significant decrease in construction. And so I think Infometrics looked at it in March last year to the year before. There was about 10,000 construction jobs that were lost, and that obviously impacts our Pacific peoples greatly. But it's sort of a mixed picture. A lot of Pacific are moving into professional jobs. Again, the sectors that we are heavily employed in around labouring jobs, machinery jobs, manufacturing jobs, those have taken a hit. But there are positive signs in regards to we've got more Pacific moving into professional jobs and to managerial roles. So that we're seeing those numbers as well. But just we have a younger population. We're seeing a lot of the older Pacific move into professional jobs. But again, because we've got a significant younger population, there's just not enough jobs for, say, our 15 to 24-year-olds.
We've seen a press release from the Labour Party who essentially they're saying that Prime Minister Christopher Luxon is to blame, that he's making life harder for Pacific communities. What's your response to that? Are those sort of statements helpful?
No, I don't think any statements that throw anyone under the bus is helpful. I think the reality is, different governments come in and do different things, but the important thing to know is that they work right across the spectrum, and so whilst the current government focuses on trying to get our economy back on track, I guess everyone's sort of picking up different pieces and trying to run with it. But the solutions need to be collective, and so the problems have been created collectively as well. I don't know if that really made sense. Yeah, but I don't think it's helpful to throw the government under the bus. I think what is helpful is if we acknowledge that, this is a huge issue and it's having a huge impact on our Pacific communities. But what are the solutions? How do we move forward? How do we work in the current economic crisis that we're seeing at the moment to move a lot of our young people and our communities into employment? Playing the blame game is never beneficial to our communities.
What other services do you help with those that are impacted by unemployment?
One of our key services is around housing, and so we work primarily on the sharper end of the housing spectrum. So that's around homelessness, around emergency housing, transitional housing, and social housing. And so we know through our food bank work and through our addictions work that often if people have somewhere stable and safe that they can live in, then it helps them to be able to build, to be able to focus on getting employment, getting educated, and all of those sort of fundamental things that's required for people to be able to have a positive well-being. And so housing is one of the key areas that we work in. We know that if we're able to put our families into safe and affordable housing, then that would help them to focus on, trying to get into employment, trying to get an education, trying to be able to better support their families. So housing is a key area that the Salvation Army works in and tries to help our Pacific families. One of the benefits of the Salvation Army is that we endeavour to build big houses, and that's often an issue with the housing that's available. They don't often accommodate our Pacific families, and so we try and build across the board in regards to building smaller houses, bigger houses, accessible houses for all those in our community.
And just to end off our talanoa, Anna, what's your message to those who are struggling or who have been affected by unemployment?
Yeah, I think it's to be able to reach out to support. There's a lot of support out there in the community. I think we, as Pacific communities, have a huge whakamā, a nature about us, but there's so much help that's out there in the community to be able to reach out to them and ask for support. I mean, the hope is, and I'm not an economist, so I don't know, I can't forecast any economic trends as to how well we're going to do financially in the coming year. But the hope is that these numbers will turn around and that, there'll be a greater investment in trying to support more jobs in our country. And so, I think right now is to be able to reach out to the services and the communities that are there to be able to help them and if they are struggling in regards to not having income or employment.
A Fijian academic in New Zealand says a court ruling in favour of Fiji's dismissed anti-corruption chief has embarrassed Prime Minister Sitiveni Rabuka. Stephen Ratuva is the University of Canterbury's Pro-Vice-Chancellor Pacific. Dr. Ratuva says while the Fiji High Court decision on Barbara Malimali offered clarity on the separation of powers, it added to the weight of responsibilities piling up under Rabuka's leadership. Koroi Hawkins has more.
On Monday, the court ruled that Barbara Malimali's dismissal was unlawful, a decision she said vindicated her.
I had some really good lawyers. For those of you who prayed and all of that, thank you so very, very much. I'm very grateful. To those of you who hate me, thank you. You kept us fighting. And we've been vindicated.
Sitiveni Rabuka immediately announced that he would be appealing the decision, but later told local reporters that he would consider resigning if the appeal failed. Despite this, Rabuka's Information Minister, Linda Tambuya, told reporters on Tuesday that the Prime Minister had the full support of the Cabinet and tried to walk back his public comments.
So at this point, he has not admitted that. I think the media or what is being put out needs to be corrected. If you looked at his statement yesterday, he did refer to the appeal process, and if at the end of it he certainly was wrong, in law, he would consider resigning.
Fiji military commander Major General Tone Niuean also weighed in on the turn of events, telling local media that the army is maintaining a situational awareness of what is happening, given that the country was heading into an election period.
We're confident that the rule of law has been applied, and I think that's the important part. And that again leaves an opportunity also for an appeal by the Prime Minister and his team. So that process is in place, and it's something that I feel is very important for Fiji as a whole.
The government's information director, Samisoni Paretti, told RNZ Pacific that the Prime Minister is exploring various options following the High Court decision. Mr. Paretti said during a briefing by Fiji's Solicitor General Ropante Green at Tuesday's cabinet meeting, a number of legal options were presented. He said Mr. Rabuka will use the next few days to decide what options he will pursue. Dr. Stephen Ratuva said all the issues Prime Minister Sitiveni Rabuka is having to deal with are leading him to breaking point.
And the fact that he has signaled his willingness to resign if the appeal doesn't come through is something which only he himself will have to decide. And I think A lot of people have been asking for his resignation in the last few months for different reasons.
Fiji is expected to head to the polls any time between the 7th of August this year at the earliest and the 6th of February next year at the latest. Dr. Ratuva said Fijian opposition parties will try to use some of these issues faced by Rambuka as part of campaigning.
And in politics, anything can be leveraged as a means of outmaneuvering your opposition. So it certainly is something which will arise during the election campaigns. And there are other issues as well, in terms of the cost of living, in terms of well-being, in terms of health, the infrastructure, the rising crime, the drugs. There's a whole lot of issues will become campaign issues during the election.
Dr. Ratuva said the coalition government under Sitiveni Rambuka will be on the defensive in terms of making sure that they are re-elected, but he said that will depend on how they are able to handle these issues and ultimately comes down to the choice of the voters.
A 23-year-old has become the first Niuean athlete to score a goal in professional football. Jalen Rodwell is a midfielder for South Island United FC, playing in the OFC Pro League. His monumental goal has been viewed over 40,000 times on social media. Rodwell spoke to our reporter Tiana Haxton.
This time put in the sugar. Oh, wonderful strike! Jalen Rodwell.
It is Rodwell's first time playing professional football, and he has already made his mark with a wonder strike officials say is a candidate for the goal of the season. He says his goal against South Melbourne FC on Sunday was a result of hours of training, drills and muscle memory. Rodwell walked us through the moment. He sent a scorcher of a shot into the top corner of the net from 30 yards away.
As the ball kind of landed in the air, I took a touch and just thought just to hit it. And obviously it came off really sweet. And I only really saw it for a couple of seconds. And as soon as it went in, I didn't really know what to do. So I just ran to the bench where all the other boys were and celebrated with them.
My goodness.
Celebrations continued later on as South Island United FC shared a clip of his gameplay on Facebook and announced Rodwell as the first ever Niuean to score a goal in professional football history. Rodwell says his family were overjoyed when he shared the news.
My parents and my grandparents and family and friends back home are super proud to obviously have that achievement. And yeah, it was obviously a bonus for how nice the goal was. I guess they don't really usually come off as sweet as that one did. And then obviously when I found out that was the first professional goal by a Niuean person was just awesome. And
he says it is an honour to represent the Niuean side of his heritage on the world stage. While the Kiwi team didn't succeed in winning the match outright, Rodwell says their 3-3 draw is still a positive result. In the post-match presser, his head coach Rob Sherman says both teams fought valiantly on the field.
I think it was a finely balanced game, two very even sides. We had spells of dominance, they had spells where they dominated, and ultimately, I'm really pleased that the boys came back from a 2-1 down to go 3-2 up, and then, the game could have swung either way.
As of Wednesday morning, South Island United currently sits at 5th on the table, while South Melbourne FC are second behind Auckland FC at the top. Sherman says they face tough competition in round 1, but they are only getting better with each match.
I think we're in a space where we're improving from game to game, and obviously we played Auckland FC in our first game, and that was our very first game. We'd never even played a friendly at that stage. Then we played Vanuatu, and I think we played very well in that. Now we've played another of the top teams, and we've competed on a level field. So generally, we're making progress, and I'm happy with it.
And South Island United were in action again this afternoon in Port Moresby, slugging out a 0-0 draw with Solomon Kings FC in extremely wet conditions at Santos National Football Stadium. That's Pacific Waves for today. For all episodes, head over to rnz.co.nz/Pacific. We're also on Spotify, Apple and iHeartRadio. From myself and the RNZ Pacific team, Tō whā, soifua.